The Golden State Valkyries making the playoffs in their first year is pretty impressive. The first WNBA expansion team to ever do so. Usually expansion teams spend years building, struggling, and developing before they even think about the playoffs. But the Valkyries went nuts this season. They were such a fan favorite, selling out all of their home games, while hometown fans just fell in love with their players. Coach of the Year candidate Natalie Nakase rightfully says it should be a coaching staff award. The chemistry on this team was created out of sheer joy for the game. And obviously other changes to the leagues and other teams and organizations played their part as well. But the Valkyries earned this, and they deserve all the credit for what this team just accomplished. The Valkyries' fearless leader, Natalie Nakase, the first Asian American head coach in the WNBA. She's actually a former player who played in the NWBL and in professional leagues overseas. After some knee problems ended her career, her obsession with basketball only grew stronger. After her playing days were over, she volunteered as an assistant coach. And mentoring under former NBA coach Bob Hill, she developed a reputation as a scouting genius with a tireless work ethic for watching film. Following her dream to coach in the NBA, she began as an intern with the LA Clippers in 2012. Before being selected to lead the Valkyries, Nakase added championship pedigree to her resume by coaching under Becky Hammon for the Las Vegas Aces. So when building her staff for this expansion franchise, she prioritized trust and respect, selecting people she had personal connections with and who shared her winning attitude. The coaching staff needed chemistry just like the players, and Nakase knew exactly how to foster it. Described by colleagues and players alike as tactically brilliant with exceptional leadership skills, Nakase's influence on this team cannot be overstated. Proof by what you've seen her team do, she prepares obsessively. As much as it's fast-paced with a defensive intensity, she overly prepares her players for their opponents, which demands complete buy-ins from all her players, creating a system where chemistry and that collective effort is put above an individual's talent. And throughout the season, you can see who's thrived in this system. You can see who Nakase trusts in the clutch and important moments of the game. Kate Martin ended up fitting in kind of perfectly as an energy guard. As much as she's got that quick release and she's great on hustle plays, she's trusting her right off the bench, which is pretty cool and kind of telling considering they do have that background relationship with the Aces. Kayla Thornton's ability to guard multiple positions and communicate her switches made her the go-to trusted player for Nakase before they lost her to a season-ending injury. Monique Billings provided the perfect mobile big presence needed for transition basketball. Cecilia Zandalasini's European-style basketball movement meshed beautifully with the motion offense. And someone like Tiffany Hayes brought the grit and multiple position defense that Nakase's system demanded. Kind of like the Warriors We Believe team. They really did win by numbers. There were no individual superstars on this team, even though everybody is ultimately great. But as an expansion team, you receive everyone else's best role player, and you hope to get lucky in free agency. The Valkyries took it a step further and tried to get as much young European talent as they could. So you have a team where all the players are coming from a place where they believe they can do more than the jobs they're given. And honestly, you want that. So in this case, there were no egos to be the number one star. You saw everybody kind of form into their role organically and take that on purpose. And it is impressive because it's like behind the scenes, Nakase had a conversation with every player and every staff member and said, this is what your job is, do this to the nth degree. So players like Kayla Thornton and Mo Billings became the steady presence, the clutch performers when the games were on the line. Tiffany Hayes stepped in as a vocal leader and really can do anything the coach asked her to do on the floor. Veronica Burton became the face of this team. When so many players went out after countless injuries, she was absolutely dependable throughout the entire season. And then you get somebody like Caitlin Chin, who got a shot, was cut, and brought back, and plays sparingly, but is just the most energetic spark off the bench, always cheering for the team. She goes viral just because she's happy to be there. That's what made it so special to watch. You can feel the energy in Valhalla coming through the TV, but you really can see the connectedness of this team. Every made three, every defensive stop, every 50-50 ball. It's like you know this was hammered into them. Nakase's way to win. which is further highlighted when you realize how many different lineups she had to play with, how many of her players she trusts, and how the players trust each other. Along with the staff, the players had to adapt to the change in lineups as well, because injuries weren't the only things that added to the changes. Center Elania Rupert didn't play with the Valkyries for the first half of the season while getting ready for Eurobasket. Rookie forward Janelle Salaun missed all of training camp, but by the second game of the season, she was a starter and one of the most important players on the team. Guard forward Kayla Charles was signed to a 7-day contract when Monique Billings went down, and she ended up being such a great fit for the Valkyries. So even after we got Monique Billings back, Kayla Charles remained an important piece of the rotation. Extra proof in that playoff clinching game against Dallas when Nakase put Charles on Paige Beckers just to slow her down, which a lot of fans actually credit the overall win to. Xanda Lassini is still out with the calf injury. Tiffany Hayes is out with the knee injury. Again, just allowing more Valkyries to get that runtime right before the playoffs. The already small roster has to navigate this while still having a coach that wants to win. So with so many injuries, the next person up mentality became more than just a saying. It literally became their identity, opening up the doors for players like Letitia Amahir, who initially got cut, but then got another chance, and in that chance immediately became a fan favorite. Literally an example of the very talented players who often get left in the shadows on deeper rosters. And again, this showed Nakase's genius and adaptability. She made lineup changes and strategic adjustments look easy, all while keeping the culture intact because the players remained connected and together even through all these injuries. And really, for any type of run in the playoffs, you have to be able to depend on your bench. So in a lot of ways, a lot of their players got early auditions for however far they make it in the playoffs. And how do you get a first-year story without a dramatic entrance into the playoffs? The Golden State Valkyries needed one more win in order to make it, and they were playing the Dallas Wings. Again, already short-handed, it seemed out of reach as they were actually down 13 points in the second half. But honestly, it's like they found that poise. Janelle Salaun took over in the fourth quarter, scoring 9 of her 19 points when it mattered the most. The team was on a string defensively, and they got a beautiful and-one from Veronica Burton with 22.3 seconds left on the clock. 84-80, beating out a Paige Beckers-led Dallas Wings team. And the Valkyries would make history. It's crazy watching the players and watching the fans realize this amazing feat. Not only did they end this season with a winning record, but going into the playoffs in a year where you have a pretty good chance at an upset all at the same time. Again, being the first expansion team to ever make it to the playoffs in the WNBA, it was beyond unexpected. They outperformed every projection, expectation, and really changed what it could look like to build an expansion team, which will make it even more interesting over the next couple of years, watching as role players get shifted multiple times, not only from the expansion teams, but from the new CBA agreement. And as much as they made history, nobody believed they could do this. Literally no one, including their own franchise. Because even after making history and clinching the playoff spot, it would rumble through that the first ever home playoff game wouldn't even be in their home arena. An international tennis tournament had actually been booked at Chase Center long before anyone thought the expansion team would make the playoffs. So a scheduling conflict and someone already booked the conference room type vibes. The Valkyries have to move their postseason home game to SAP Center in San Jose. It's interesting to think about from a business standpoint, but as a fan, that's insane. Season ticket holders have to be crushed. From Chase Center to San Jose, it'll definitely shake up the crowd. It is wild to think about because that Valhalla experience on TV looked absolutely insane. Every single home game looked wild, and them having to move it is another testament to the patience and triumph of a champion and everything there. But it's also just another, kick in the teeth for being in an expansion team or a WNBA team even. But they didn't expect the team to make the playoffs, so of course the ticket holders are upset. The team is taking it all in stride. They just want to make it as far as possible. But again, just considering how loud and wild it looked in Valhalla, I definitely understand them wanting to get that done in their home arena. So hopefully next season they'll be able to make that happen. The Valkyries have definitely made history, absolutely changing what an expansion team can look like, especially in their first year. Organizational excellence at every level, from the ownership's commitment to building a winning culture immediately to a front office that identified overlooked talent, a coaching staff that maximized every player's potential. Nakase deserves serious Coach of the Year consideration. I think her only real competition is the Atlanta Dream coach, so that should be interesting to see. But you can really see she's the head of the snake there. She coaches her people, not just as players, and she adjusts on the fly, using every bit of her diverse coaching staff and experiences to pull off plays and changes just fearlessly. I'm not really sure how far they'll go in the playoffs. Depending on where they land, they could play the Lynx or the Aces, and both of those teams are pretty heavily loaded. So we'll see. They have absolutely nothing to lose, so a knockout at this level would again be storybook for their first year. Hopefully we get some really fun games from them in the playoffs. They just released Elizabeth Kitley, so we'll see what they're doing there at the big position. What did you like about the Valkyries? What do you think they can do in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you, and catch me in the next one.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.